I'm going to do my best to do this completely unscripted today, which is difficult for me because I have ADHD. I have a lot of thoughts. I see the bigger picture. I'm not great at communicating all the smaller thoughts to that big thought. But I wanted to talk about the direction that my channel is going to take moving forward, which is, I have no idea. I have been at this for about a year now, and I have reached a point where it's time to start being bolder and it's time to start taking more risks. There was someone who explained it that I saw on Instagram the other day, where he said, say you're a millionaire and you are playing poker and you're playing $100 hands. That's an appropriate amount for you to bet so that it'll make an impact. But if you're a billionaire, you can't be playing with those same $100 hands because there's no growth in it for you. The risk isn't as high, which means the reward is also not as high. So it's time to make a change and do something different. And there was another content creator who said something that I absolutely resonated with and was thinking before he even said it. And he basically said that the era of educational content creation is over because of AI. Because AI has taken all of that information and now it knows everything. And you can literally put, what situation you're dealing with at work with an employee, and you can say, they said this, I said this, here's the situation, blah, 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 what do I do? And it'll spit out a plan for you, it'll spit out a script for you, it'll do the thing, right? And not to say that my stuff won't be educational anymore, but it'll be more oracle-y. And what does that mean? That means that and this is the new era of content creation, of people who want to be successful at it. They are oracles. They can see the big picture and they can do the pattern recognition and they can connect the dots and tell you why it matters. And that's actually the whole reason why I started this channel. I've been doing this my whole life. I saw, X is going to happen, Y is going to happen, Z is going to happen. So what problem can I scoop in and solve for people? And for a long time, that was, small business owners, they're my people, the people who have never led people before a day in their life, or they wanted to be better at it because they were forced to start their own business, or they got sick of corporate and wanted to go out on their own, or they were replaced by AI, or what have you, right? There are a lot of people who were forced to start their own businesses, and I wanted to be there for them. And what has happened? All of that. But I'm kind of not bored of the leadership stuff. It's just what I've done my whole life. I will continue to do it, just in a different way, because I am nerdy about it. I am passionate about it. I am actually really super angry at everything and what has become with these big corporations and all of the shitty leaders that we have in place everywhere in big corporations. I purposely do not call people in government leaders. They are representatives. They need to know their place. You'll never hear me call them leaders, ever. But for those of you who do, they're shitty. All of them. We have so many, and I'm so mad. And so I am really passionate about it. And that's what I am going to do. And that's why I changed the name of the channel from Lead Forward to Jen Decodes. Because that's really my role. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at decoding the weird shit that goes on and then translating it so that you can actually do something with it. And with the rise of AI and with everyone just hating the corporate world and the corporate structures, it is really because we've learned that it is dangerous to have just one source of income now, right? That's why people are starting their own businesses, right? And I wanted to be a part of that, to just make that easy. And I found that it isn't really working the way that I wanted it to. Now, is that because my content sucks? Because I am too scripted? Maybe. I don't know. I'm still out here trying, right? I do feel like I get better a little bit every time. Like when I go back and I watch my first video that none of you can even see anymore, I've actually come a very long way. And so I'm not going to hate on myself for that, because that version of me got me to where I am today. And this version of me is going to take me where I need to go next. So I don't necessarily know what my content is going to look like going forward. Now, one of the gifts of having ADHD is that we are generally multi-passionate people. We are Jacks and Jills of all trades, right? We are masters of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And for multi-passionate people, what ends up happening is that they are the ones who can generally forge a new path and find a way that those passions intersect. And so I'm hoping that by being bold and taking more risks and what have you, that I will find where those things intersect. And some of you might like that, some of you might not. It is what it is. For now, I am definitely stuck in the middle. In the very messy middle that nobody likes to talk about, right? Nobody likes to talk about your midlife crisis. No one likes to talk about being in your 40s. Nobody likes to talk about when you're 10 years into a marriage, right? It's like, oh, you're newly wed. What is that like? And oh, you've been married for 30 years. What is that like? Nobody ever talks about the messy middle. And that is exactly where I am. I'm not who I was. I am definitely not yet who I am meant to become. And I basically speak as like a fed up sort of middle manager, right? I am pissed off that I'm trying to do leadership well, but good leadership is not provided to me, right? And so being not just a millennial, which I believe is the bridge generation, but as a zennial, which is truly the bridge generation. Again, in the middle of Gen X and millennials, who I really understand the old way of doing things. And I understand that we cannot do a lot of those things moving forward, but it's not a situation where we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So I am speaking as someone who knows that kind of the old way of doing things is dead, but not everything. I speak as someone who doesn't believe in having one source of income anymore. That doesn't work. I speak as someone who believes in loyalty, but only if it is being reciprocated. I don't believe in going to a company and working there not one job, but just being with a company your whole life because they're not loyal to anyone anymore. I can't believe in the last 10 years how normalized layoffs have become. To me, that's just bad strategy. To me, that just says that leadership cannot think long term. And yes, there are things that happen and things come up and some things are necessary. But some of these people just do it every year and we've normalized it and it's not normal. It's not normal. I don't know. I guess the funny thing about being a Zennial and going through a midlife crisis when the rest of the world is in its own midlife crisis is weird, right? Because we are not who we've been, and we are not yet who we are becoming. We are stuck in the messy middle all around. And I'm not one to hate on other generations. I will never do that. But it's interesting to me because the boomers have been in charge since they were in their 20s and 30s, and they are still in charge because they won't give it up. And what worked for them is not going to work for us moving forward in the future. The government, the corporations, like no shade, right? Like, thank you for your service and contributions and for building what you did, right? Like, I had an excellent childhood. I had the best time being a kid, aside from being bullied by other kids. And the only reason that I had that is because of what the boomers built. So, thank you. I'm not going to be ungrateful for any of that. So I guess my question is more for millennials, and maybe this will be something that we dive into. My question, and why I say for millennials, is because if you have read The Fourth Turning or listened to it on audiobook, the millennials are the ones who are going to take charge and rebuild with the help of Gen X, of course. But Gen X doesn't want it. You guys constantly say that you want to be left alone. And so I'll do my part. I'll leave you alone. I'll be happy to leave you alone. But I do need your help. We do need your help in rebuilding. And so that's where my question for millennials comes in is, what are we building? What does the world look like when the boomers finally retire and we finally get to grow up and take our place, right? Again, because Gen X just wants to be left alone, right? We can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? We do know that there are valuable things from the past that we need to take and move forward. But what are we getting rid of? And I'm curious to hear from you guys that are millennials, the bridge generation, right? And in The Fourth Turning, they basically just talk about the cycle of the different cycles of history, which, to be honest, I'm into astrology. I may start talking about that as well. What The Fourth Turning talks about are actually Uranus cycles. It takes 84 years for Uranus to make an orbit around the sun. And that is what happens every 84 years. There's a big war, right? Uranus is in Gemini right now. The last time it was in Gemini, World War II. The last time it was in Gemini before that, the Civil War. The last time it was in Gemini before that was the American Revolution. And so what's interesting is that's what The Fourth Turning really talks about. It's that cycle of strong men create good times after a war. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and hard times create good men. That's essentially the cycle that they talk about. It's a really good book. If you haven't read it or listened to it on audiobook, I'm going to listen to it again. I've been yapping for a while now, and I just kind of wanted to share openly about where my brain is, because I think it's important that you guys understand what goes on in this weird thing up here. It's been difficult creating long form content in the last couple of weeks, and I know a lot of you guys here don't actually watch for the long form content. You watch for the short form. But I created 3 whole videos about Miranda Bailey, and I was going to do a comparison between Miranda Bailey and Miranda Priestley. And if that is something that you are interested, let me know. It was actually, I thought it was interesting, but it recorded with no sound. And then I didn't have time to redo it. And then I just didn't want to, because I was having a weird week and all of this stuff started coming up. And I just didn't think that that was the direction that I wanted to go in anymore. But maybe it is something worth decoding and translating. I don't know. Let me know if that's something you want. And let me know what you're interested in talking about. Like, it's hard for me to come up with ideas and to make sure that things are useful for you guys because I don't get a lot of comments. Anyway, we've been here for a while now. I'm going to stop rambling. This was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you too. I hope it was useful and valuable in some way. Draw me a comment. Let me know what we're doing, and I'll see you in the next one.